Jeremy Shoulders.
Eli Inman.
Jack Pittman.
Zachary Inman.
Little Inman.
Timber Tyson.
3 of these guys are summer schools for now, right? And so they don't understand the fall. Why don't you break down the differences? You two break down the differences of the way it works during the summer and in the fall.
Right, so the difference between summer and the actual school year is obviously going to be discipline's the biggest one. During the summer, they're a lot more lenient on what you can do and what you cannot do. But during the fall, you really have to be on your best behavior. And if you're not on your best behavior, you're probably going to get yourself into some trouble. I also think the brotherhood is very different. During the summer, you only have a month to get close with all your guys. But during the school year, you have the whole year to get that bond really grown.
Yeah.
Yeah. During the summer, it's kind of crazy to me how some people can get so close and attached to people only during a month. Like, I get living with each other is, like, you have to be close, but I just don't really understand how people can get that close. But it's a really nice aspect.
Yeah. That's one of the good things, actually, is the bonds that you make when you're so close to people like that. You don't appreciate it until you leave here and you realize how many Hargrave graduates there were, and you run into them places. Like, when I wear my work clothes, my Hargrave shirt or my Hargrave hat, I'll run into people everywhere. Like, military school used to be, and a lot of people still think it's like a discipline thing, but, you know, that perception has changed because this isn't a reform school. So it's more of when somebody says when people say, well, if I said I went to military school, they're instantly going to think, oh, leader, things like that, right? Leader, discipline.
Right, for sure.
So just like when somebody goes into the military, leadership, discipline. So those are attributes that come with that. And that's why you work so hard here, because you have to build those skills, right? So we don't grow up to be pitmen.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Tell me about the steering wheel, Jeremy.
All right. So last year I was in Mr. Bunker's class, and like I'd get in trouble a little bit. I'd like do too much, like I'd mess around too much with all these different people, and not that he got a cardboard box and he cut out a steering wheel, and he made me keep on holding it around like this because I'd drive him crazy. And what's it called? A kid that was eating in class, one of my friends, he had to get a Dorito cardboard box cut out because he kept on eating in class.
Yeah.
And like as far as what's called the summer school, I mean it's fun, but there's some stuff that like I could have done better and stuff like that, and stuff that other people could have done better. But like for the most part, it's fun. But like, yeah, but like when you see other people doing bad and stuff like that, and then you just get yourself wrapped into it. Like if you were just there, you're probably gonna get in trouble too. So you just gotta like stay away from the bad stuff.
What about you?
Summer school experience this year has been super chaotic. I got in one of the higher positions. I get to tell people what to do. It's really fun.
A leadership position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get to yell at people. It's really amazing.
Oh, man.
It's been a great experience, though. Learning experience of what kids are like nowadays, especially when they don't get their electronics 24/7. It's a big issue, and this has resolved it a lot.
It's probably the best part of summer school. No electronics, you can really grow.
Well, I think that this is going to make me sound like an old man, I know. And I know I already look like one. But they being alone with your own thoughts is something your generation doesn't do.
Right.
And your generation, critical thinking is hard for you guys because you're always told what to think. You're bombarded by social media is telling you what to think. You turn on the news. They don't give you anything objective. They tell you what you should think. Then you have peer pressure. I just read yesterday about another girl who killed herself because she was bullied online. And so, your generation just doesn't have that. You've always have information coming in. And you don't really have ways to turn it off because there's always a screen. There's always something, right?
Yeah.
So I know it sucks when you first, start doing that. But when you're able to slow down for a little bit and you're able to be in your own thoughts, you can make better decisions. If you ever survey like billionaires, for instance, a lot of them will tell you that they have a reflective time in the day where they just sit in their own thoughts, because some brilliant ideas can come from that because you're letting your brain work. You're not just in this receiving mode of receiving just anything, which is not helpful at all. It's very detrimental, right? Reading a book is one thing, but just taking in useless information and getting a dopamine rush constantly, it's just not, too much of anything's bad, right?
Right.
And the thing is like, in that respect is one thing about Hargrave, when you have to turn off and do activities and physical things, even things you don't like, even simple things like formation, is that you're building a positive chemical response in your brain versus a fake achievement dopamine response that you get from doing something that doesn't matter. That's what you're getting when you scroll on social media, when you play a lot of games and stuff like
Right.
that. Like, you're just getting a dopamine rush. And having a positive, I think it's cortisol, if I remember correctly, is the positive chemical in your brain. To get a little more of that, I could be wrong there. Cortisol might be the stress chemical, whatever. But
No.
it's one of those. But yeah, I think cortisol might be the stress level, actually, stress one. But yeah, but that's another reason why we like to detach. Like, I know for summer this year was a shock for you guys that you didn't have laptops the first day.
Yep.
For some of them, they were like clawing at the walls because they didn't have internet their first day here. But we need to give you time to adjust, because if we gave you your laptops right away, would you even make friends?
Nope,
Absolutely.
Would you talk to
not.
anybody?
No,
Yeah,
sir.
exactly. Because you don't have to. You could just go back to what you know.
Right.
And that defeats the whole purpose of being here. Why are you here if your brain's there? Does that make
Right.
sense?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, what are some of the activities that you guys did this summer that you really enjoyed?
Start off with me, I guess. I love tennis. Had a great time. Dr. Tung, always the best of the best. The team was pretty good. Love teaching new guys. And the activities, I would say, I only went to one of them, but overall it was super fun. It was Go
wanna sit up
Ape. So there's a lot of climbing, but the next weekend we had an open house. Love doing that, showing off some leadership skills and showing some kids around.
The first week and the second week we played soccer. Really fun. Good players. Coach was really good. Had a great time out there.
Yeah, soccer's fun. Did you guys go anywhere? Anywhere fun?
I went to the baseball game, and the baseball.
A little closer.
It was pretty fun. Lots of just running around. Really close. Lots of just running around. Didn't watch the game much. They didn't make us, but they asked some of us to go help and like, what do you call it? Unravel the
Mhm.
flag,
Mm-hmm.
and then we sat there and waved it during the national anthem. So that was pretty cool.
Nice.
Lots of old people, and they were like, there was this one dude, and lots of old people, lots of elderly people. And he said that he almost went to Hargrave, and I was like, it's pretty cool. So
Nice. What about
Yeah,
you?
had
What
to
did you
learn.
like? Where did you go?
So for me, I started off with basketball for like the first 2 days, and after the third day, Sergeant Maydeen tried switching me to football. So we just moved my whole schedule to football. So I went into the basketball court for practice, and Coach Petty said, "Oh no, Sergeant Maydeen moved you to football." So I had to go to football, and I saw that there was most of the people that I knew in class. They were there too, and I actually kind of liked it. So I've been doing football for like ever since then to now, the end of the summer program. I did football. It was fun. I learned a little bit more about positions and stuff like that. Learned more about my routes and how to make it more shifty. I got along with most of the players and stuff. And yeah, it was fun overall.
Nice. So this isn't your first time here, obviously.
Right.
You've been here. So what can you say that you've kind of learned as far as leadership capability from having more responsibilities over the summer?
Right, so over the summer, I feel like I have really grown as a leader. I have taken charge of almost the whole corps during all meals and just making sure everyone is doing what they're supposed to be doing at all times. And if they're not, I'm here helping, trying to guide them to the right way, doing the best I can. But I know it's hard to get everyone, so every once in a while something slips. But I got a great team of guys helping me.
Thank you.
I'm his assistant. That sounded like a speech. I'm basically just his assistant, and I'm just his assistant. So anything he needs help with, I usually do. Help him with formations and PA calls, stuff like that. Started playing tennis because why not? Went into it with 0 lessons. Still have 0 lessons.
Did you hit the ball over? How many times did you hit the ball over the fence?
Solid 5,
5?
at least.
You did not see 5 because I only hit it like maybe twice,
Or maybe twice. though.
maybe 3 times. I don't know.
Well, tennis is a good example, just like golf, of like making small adjustments over time
Mhm.
gives you big gains.
Exactly.
It's a good lesson to learn. Most of my leadership lessons come from jiu-jitsu because, like, that's my thing, right?
Right.
I've been doing it for a long time, but like the same things in jiu-jitsu apply to leadership and like the skills you learn. Because like in jiu-jitsu, I'll give you an example. So I remember I had this guy come in. He's like a world champion, whatever, jiu-jitsu guy, sport guy. He was a decent guy, very athletic. He came in, and his sidekick, this other guy was with him. He's a very nice guy, very hospitable, everything. But when I rolled with him, it really wasn't that big a deal because we had a different style, meaning that we just go no time limit. And, you know, he was calling out points when we were rolling. I'm like, dude, don't roll like that. One of us is going to get choked out or arm locked, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way I like to do it because I'm not, like, a point person.
Yeah.
So we roll, and I noticed that, like, he couldn't get out of positions. He was really good about knocking people over, sweeping people over, but he couldn't get out of things. And it comes from a lack of fundamentals. And then when I roll with, like, one of my instructors who was, like, 15 years older than me, he completely immobilized me. I could not move, and he could tell me what he was going to get before I even did anything.
Wow.
And he can read me right before I did anything, and it was all basic stuff that you teach a white belt. And I use that when I talk about leadership is like if in jiu-jitsu on the mats, if you don't know your fundamentals, you're going to get crushed. You're going to get destroyed. But the leadership's the same way. If you don't focus on the core values and you don't understand the value in the little things, if you don't do the little things right, you'll never do the big things right. I say this a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is the third podcast I've said that in a row. But like those are the important things, and that's one of the benefits of being here is because your day-to-day things, keeping your room clean, making your bed, formation, all those things, they don't look like anything but an obstacle to you now.
Right.
But when you get older and there's no parachute, these are the things that will make you into a successful adult. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and I know it sucks now to have to go through all these things, all these routines, but you know, when you're older, you have no one to tell you to do these things, and if they're not ingrained in you, then you won't do them. Right?
Right.
Yeah. So, give me a time where you failed as a leader, and what did you learn from it? But give me a time where you failed, a lesson that you learned as a leader from failure, because failure is often the best teacher.
I'm gonna go with like maintaining your attitude and your anger, like not anger issues, but like just maintaining a calm mind, because kids can get under your skin and it's really pretty tough to deal with sometimes. Stuff like that. And
So, keeping your cool.
keeping you cool.
Have you lost it?
maintaining.
Have you lost it before?
Lots of times. And
Yeah?
I regret it most times because I feel like I shouldn't have done that, shouldn't have said that, shouldn't have been that loud.
Yeah.
It kind of hurts sometimes, but then, you know, things happen.
Yeah. Well, it just goes to show you that like the discipline to hold your tongue sometimes is
Mhm.
hard, but regret is a lot harder later to deal with, isn't it?
Yeah. most
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, and another thing too, like you ever have a problem where like a problem lives in your head? You have a situation that happens and you won't stop thinking about it,
Yes.
and it affects you, right?
Yeah.
The only person that hurts is who?
You.
That's right. They always say like, and especially if you hold a grudge, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's held a grudge, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, they say holding a grudge is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die.
It's really stupid.
Because who's it hurting?
You.
You're the only one thinking about it, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. That's cool. What's next? What we got?
Oh, probably just trying to use yourself as an example when doing like the right stuff. Cause I know this summer me and you had a little whoopsie. And
Oh, just a little whoopsie, yeah.
Just a little whoopsie, had a
More
little bit of
peculiar.
trouble. And I feel like that really slipped us back into who can trust us and who can follow us to
Oh, yeah.
where we were and how we are now. But I feel like overall, as long as you pick yourself back up from the lows you have, everyone is going to eventually come back to where you were, and you're going to be back up to your best leadership ability.
Yeah, one of the best things about failing at your age is you can always bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it also teaches you the lesson of once you lose trust, it's incredibly hard to gain it back, right?
Right.
Yeah, and that's why it's important to build those core values so that you don't make those mistakes. Because people can tell when you have integrity, meaning you do the right thing regardless of who's watching, it shows. People can see that. It'll resonate. I'll give you a perfect example. Have you ever met Mr. Gibson?
Yeah.
You see how respected he is, right? Everyone likes him, right? Everyone respects him.
Yep.
And it's just because he's a person of integrity, right? It has nothing to do with his position, because if it was just his position, they would only say nice things to him in front of his face, right? But I've never heard a single bad thing about him behind his back,
Me neither.
right? Because that comes from being a respectable person, having integrity, and treating everyone like a human being.
Alrighty, so this summer has been especially hard as being a leader because these Bravo kids are wild, and I lose my cool way too much. It just keeps me on edge all day,
Yeah.
and honestly, I just lose my cool too much. I raise my voice. I get super mad. I get heated. I get in their face. It's just not a good thing. There's a bunch of kids up there that would wish I would just like go in my room and lock my door and never come out. But I think that's definitely an issue that I can fix personally.
Do not lead with emotions. So if you're angry at something somebody does, you have to stop for a minute, take a breath, and say, what is the outcome of the action I'm about to take? What will happen? Because most people, if you yell at them, they're going to yell back or they're going to shut down, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one of those two things. So you have to take your emotions out of it. You can't be angry. You have to see it through their eyes, right? And you have to ask yourself, like, how am I going to make the change in this person? And you can't force people to change. This is one of the hardest lessons for leaders, bad leaders, to understand, is you can't force others to change. There's only two ways that you can make people change. You can apply enough leverage that they change, or you can inspire them to change. That's it. So, like, for instance, as us, like when I'm an employer, if I have employees working for me, I can't say, oh, you're going to get this done. You know, they might do it while I'm in front of them, but that's fear. When I turn my back, they're just going to do what they want, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I can either say, okay, we can get this done, or we can hire someone better. Or, or I'll go out there and do it with them and show them how easy it can be to inspire them to work a little harder, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's just an example. But those are the only two ways you make change. And you have to just tell yourself, step away, count to 10, say, all right, how am I going to do this? And what you can normally do, one of the best tricks, is to get them to answer. So you can say things like, all right, okay, so all right, tell me what's wrong with this room. And they'll say like, oh, I didn't make my bed right, or something like that, right? Or I didn't sweep the floor, I left trash, right? And you can say, don't say, this is horrible, you're going to get us in trouble. Don't say that. Say, all right, man, well, look, what's the consequences of this? What's going to happen because you did this? And make them say it. And when you make someone say it out like that, it resonates better in their mind. Does that make sense?
Yes,
I do it with my kids all the time. When my kids do something, I'm like, all right, why did we do this? Now, what's the consequence of this? And make them say it. Because it calms them a little bit because you're not attacking them. And it gives them a better grasp of the situation, right? There's an amazing book I read once. It's one of my favorite books. It's called Leadership and Self-Deception. And it talks about how we as human beings see everyone as either vehicles or obstacles. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So,
Usually people who are like in our way or we don't like are people who we think we can hang around to get somewhere. It's kind of like when you're in traffic, right?
Yeah.
You like the cars you can pass, right? But you don't like the ones in your way,
Right.
right? Well, the thing is, the struggle, if you want to be a good leader, is to see everyone as a human being. We are all different. We all have different struggles. We all have different life experiences, right? And you have to understand that, right? You have to understand that everyone's different. And that way you approach a situation where you come off as more human. I'll put it like this, and I'm not bragging, by the way, but how many times have I had to yell? Raise your hand if I've ever fussed at y'all about something. Yeah. But did you ever really feel like I hated you?
no, sir.
No.
No. And you still know I like you, right?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, see? And that's the difference, because you know I care about you, but you also know I have a job to do, correct?
Right.
Yeah. Don't make me cry, man. Don't make me cry. He's throwing gang signs up at me already, look. But does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and that's the best thing is you need to take a breath, breathe, and just think for a second and say, all right, how do I get through this person? Now, yes, there will be some people who you will not get through to no matter what you do. That's fine. Another tip is to know where to put your energy. If you got this person over here and they're just, that's when you can defer to upper leadership, right? Or attack officer, and then take that energy and put it towards somewhere else that's going to make a difference, right? And I have to do that too. I have to put off things and not give energy to certain things. You have to prioritize.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and honestly, that's another thing is that when you're a leader, you don't have to be liked. Your job is not to be liked. Your job is to be respected. And sometimes a person won't like your decisions, but if you're consistent and you act with integrity and they know you have their best intentions in mind, they'll still respect you. And if they don't respect you after all that, they're probably not the type of person you want to be around anyway. Just do your job, right? Yeah.
If you get offered something in the school bathroom, I just walk away.
Yeah.
Happens quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, peer pressure isn't just that. Isn't just like, oh, here, take these drugs, kids. That's the type of thing.
That's basically what it was. Yeah.
Yeah. The commercial, the whole commercial on TV type thing. Usually, peer pressure starts with small decisions you make because you want to fit in with a group, right? You ever notice how, and I'm gonna call you out on this, okay? I'm gonna call you out on this. Yeah, no, I'm gonna call you on this. Remember when I had the conversation with you two about how I didn't want to see you acting different around certain people,
Yep.
right? Because that's another form of peer pressure, right? But you think about it, because if you can't be yourself around people, should you really be around them?
No.
Yeah, see? And that's the thing you see. Like, you usually mold into your group, right? You start saying the same things, doing the same things, acting the same way. And, yeah. So, yeah, that's a big challenge when you're young because you naturally want to fit in. You naturally want to be with the group. It sucks to be by yourself, right?
Yep.
So you try to make sacrifices. But did you ever take a second to notice that the most popular people, the alphas that lead the groups, are the only ones in the groups that are being themselves?
Yeah.
I have noticed that.
You want to know why? It's because when you be yourself, you're a magnet.
Right.
Because people see that confidence in you, and it attracts people, right? So if you can use that in a positive way to create a positive environment, how much better would your time be here?
So much.
Yeah. Less toxic, right? No, it's less screaming. I can't say every cadet's going to be a perfect cadet. There's always rules that are going to be broken, but you can kind of minimize problems before they start that way, right?
Right.
So if you become that kind of person that you're yourself, you're not a follower, you can say no because you're not afraid of the backlash, right? I always laugh at people because when you're older now, perspective-wise, because when you're young, you think every problem you face is the biggest problem in the world at the time, right?
Yep.
But ironically, everyone forgets 5 days later,
Yeah.
right?
Story time.
Story time with Inman.
Yeah.
Last year's Sergeant Major. Can I say his name?
Yeah.
Sergeant Rose or blah blah Rose. Yeah. Me and him every weekend we'd go out and hang out together. We'd go get some Mexican food and go to the store, just hang out, grow our bond together, and then we'd come back and watch a movie or just play a sport.
Rose is a
Great
good kid.
time.
He's a
Yeah.
good kid.
We're
Yeah.
pretty good friends too.
Yeah,
I
he's a
would
good
like
one.
to say. I mean, pretty much every time I saw him, it was usually good interaction.
Who
Just
else besides
passing-
Rose?
I remember when I came here for last summer school, when I really, really didn't want to be here, I think it was the first or second, maybe third day, when they took us to the auditorium to watch a movie. And that's right after everyone got like their haircut and everything, so they went straight to the auditorium and stuff like that, which is some time to kind of just like sit and think. Obviously, other people like watching a movie and stuff, but at the same time, you can zone out and just have your thoughts to yourself and like see where you are. So I mean, I kind of sat there and just thought, and I was like, I'm really here. So I kind of got in my emotions and stuff like that. Walked like outside or somewhere, not like outside, but outside the auditorium, and I just started crying. And Mr. Homan, like, he came over, asked what was wrong, told him everything. I was like, can't do it. And he was like, you got this, pulled me aside, took me on like a little walk. I don't know. It was really wholesome for me though.
How you treat cadets when they first get here can make their whole year, right?
Giant impact.
Yeah, giant impact. And we never know what people are going through at home.
Let's see, for the school year in the fall, excited to hopefully get my leadership role, take on a company, see how well we do. Hopefully I can succeed them to the best I can and watch us all succeed. And I'm excited to see all my guys again. All those bonds I have not seen in so long. So excited.
Bet you are. You want to give him a shout out real quick?
Yeah, shout out to Braxton Allen, of course. He's a real homie.
Explain it, yeah.
So basically, push-up competition. You're in a push-up position. You're in the up. You put your foreheads together. Yeah, just like just be quiet.
Yeah, just visualize,
Just-
okay?
Just imagine it. All right, so you're in the push-up position. Your foreheads are touching, and basically you try and grab the other person's arms, forearms, hands, whatever you can get
And
your
knock
hands
'em
on,
over.
and just pull them as hard as you possibly can, and scrape up their knees, hopefully.
You're such a nice person there. And
Yeah, thank you.
No.
Really appreciate that.
Yeah, no, we would do the push-up game before class. Like pretty much every class we would
Mhm.
have a competition,
Yep.
mostly that, and we would do like a tournament format, and we'd have prizes. And Coker Thomas would like win easily every
Yeah,
time because he was a
he's,
tree.
like, humongous.
Yeah, he would just sit there like Yeah. That's another one too. Like I'm gonna call him out because he graduated, so I hope he sees this. But he stepped up in class and tried to be a leader many times in that class. And I used to get frustrated when I would mention his name to some people and they'd be like, "Him? Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, him." And that goes to show though, with the right environment, you let a person thrive and you see what they're capable
He
of,
was
right?
just goofy sometimes.
He was goofy all the time, but it was still funny, yeah. But I was really proud. I saw a few moments with him where like he took a few cadets to the side last year, and I saw him like lecturing them like under the stairs a few times, like, "Hey, you need to chill." And he took it upon himself to do it. No one told him to do it. So yeah, you can see a guy being obnoxious and doing stuff he's not supposed to do. Like if he sees this, I'm like, "JP, you owe me a laptop." But yeah, you know, at the same time, I saw characteristics of a leader in him when he wanted to. And the trick with you guys is all of you have this, right? All of you have these good qualities in you. The trick is to use them enough that they become habits and overtake your bad habits, right? And a lot of that comes with what you take in. And you'd be surprised when you do what's hard now, life gets so easy later. But most people don't understand that because they're just focused on doing what's easy now. And they never get to reap the rewards. They have the same 24 hours a day, don't they? Right?
Yep.
They're humans, yes.
Yes, sir.
Sure, some people were born into more money, some people have more opportunity. But the fact of the matter is that you make the most of your time and you do what's hard and you do what's necessary now. And then you can do what's easy later.
Right.
Right?
For sure.
Yeah. All right, you want to say anything before we wrap up?
You wiggled your head with that one.
Breathe
Right.
air.
What you got?
Just do what you're supposed to do.
I'm sending this to your
I have
mom.
no idea.
Live, laugh, love, Hargrave.
Bye.
All right, see y'all.
Take care.